To depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
You know. Not your average nigga, I'm a guy out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Them back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like...
What's going on, family, and welcome back to Shifting the Culture podcast. I'm your host, Brother King Cam, and this is another live edition of the show. So, we got a lot to talk about. So, first and foremost, what I need you to do is I need you to like, subscribe, smash that bell so you can stay notified each and every time we drop a video. I need the Facebook family to like, share, comment. I need Twitter to make sure that you retweet. All right, so as you can see in the title, we got a lot that we want to discuss, man. Okay, hold up. Why is this not showing me what I wanted to show me? Hold up, let me see something. Nope, that ain't what I'm looking for. Okay, here we go. All right, so I need everybody to make sure you do that. Hit the comment section. Let me know what city and state that you tuned in from as well, family. And, here on Shifting the Culture podcast, we speak truth to power. Elevate the people and challenge the narrative. We speak truth to power, elevate the people, and challenge the narrative. So, as you can see, matter of fact, before I get into that, let me share this out on my Facebook and social media platforms. Let me do that real quick. So we can make sure that we get this out to the masses of the people. And I need you all to do the same thing. Make sure that you are sending this out, sending it to groups. Make sure that you retweeting it out, and make sure that you are sending out the link, all right? Reposting the link on Instagram. We don't have Instagram Live locked in right now, but make sure that you share the clips on Instagram. All right, so let me do this. All right, bam. Let me do that. Boom. What else are we going to share it to? Oh, boom there. Boom there. Boom there. Right there. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So now that we got it shared all the way out, now we can get right into the subject matter. So, Rodney Hinton Jr. Go ahead and read the article. Many of y'all may be familiar with Rodney Hinton Jr. from Cincinatti, Ohio. He is the brother that has been accused of allegedly striking and unaliving a deputy police officer in the state of Ohio on the heels of the shooting death of his son by, I believe it was Cincinnati PD. So that news story has been going viral. It's been all over social media. A lot of people chiming in on it. Again, brother allegedly struck a deputy the day after he found out on the day after that his son was shot and killed by police officers after they had responded to, I believe, a stolen vehicle call, and they had stopped the vehicle or blocked the vehicle in, and the occupants of the vehicle, one of them being Rodney Hinton Jr.'s son, got out the vehicle, took off running. In the process of running, he trips and falls down behind a trash can dumpster, gets up, continues to run, and as he's running away, fleeing from the officers, he's shot 6 times and killed by the police officers. Then the following day, after seeing the body cam footage, I believe, of the shooting, then allegedly Rodney goes and mows down a police deputy, right? So just recently, he was in court for bond. And a lot of people may have been seeing the viral clip of when, he went to court, I believe was arraigned, and all of the police officers were there, trying to show force, trying to show unity, and trying to intimidate. And people been seeing a viral clip of Rodney walking through there, holding his head high, right? Showing no fear, standing up, and he goes through the courtroom and he's looking at all the police officers as they take him out. Now, I believe earlier today is when he was in court for the bond hearing, and then there was a slight disturbance outside of the courtroom slightly, so they had to stop that disturbance and then continue to move forward. So let's see what we got as far as up-to-date news, because I know a lot of people want to know, what are my thoughts on the whole entire situation. So let's first get this article pulled up, and then we can go from there. Rodney Hinton Jr. bail hearing. All right, cool. So we're going to be reading this CNN article here. So as you know, we always want to make sure that we bring it up the actual facts. We want to have actual facts. So let me see. I'm going to bring it up like this. No, move that out the way. What's going on, family? Ha 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 ha. What's up with it? Okay, I see you lead with logic, man. I haven't seen you in a minute, bro. Thank you for tapping in. You still in the city? You need to let me know if you still in the city, Black. I ain't seen you out in a minute. All right, so I'm looking for something because I'm trying to get this pulled up a certain type of way real quick. Okay, here we go. All right, hold on. I think he's Superman. I think he's Super Saiyan. Okay, there we go. That's the one I wanted. Okay, cool. So, boom. Show that. All right, so let's get the Range Rover off the screen. So, look. We get violent, too. All right, let me move that down here like that so that can get out the way. All right, cool. So, it says Rodney Hinton Jr. Rodney Hinton Jr., whose son was shot dead by police, denied bond in killing of sheriff's deputy after disturbance in court. So he was denied the bond, which we already figured would happen. All right, so Rodney Hinton Jr., who authorities say intentionally hit and killed an Ohio sheriff's deputy with a car after his son was fatally shot by police, will remain in jail without bond while he awaits trial on a murder charge. Hinton Jr. was denied bond at a Tuesday court hearing in Cincinnati. He is charged with aggravated murder for the May 2nd killing of Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy Larry Henderson. All right, boom. There will be an order of remand with no bond. Please assure the safety of the defendant and any mental health treatment can be granted. Hamilton County Municipal Judge Tyrone Yates said the hearing is the latest development in a case that began last week when Cincinnati police shot and killed Hinton Jr.'s son. Police said 18-year-old Ryan Hinton was one of four men who were fleeing after officers found them in a stolen car, and that he was armed when he ran. All right. Hinton Jr.'s attorney, Clyde Bennett II, which is a public defender. I would want to add that, public defender. Entered a plea of not guilty on his client's behalf and requested bail. During Tuesday's hearing, Bennett asked for Hinton Jr. not to be thought of as a cop killer, but a person with a mental illness. I don't think he was a cop killer. I think he's not in his right mind, Bennett said, and I think he should be treated like any other mentally ill person that commits a crime under the auspices, control, and authority of a mental defect in the condition. Remember that part because we're going to go over that part. Remember that part because we're going to go back to that. All right. As the hearing began, a disturbance erupted in the gallery, and Hinton Jr. was rushed out of the courtroom by law enforcement. All right. So that's the disturbance I was talking about earlier. So first, so that's that. So that's what we know so far. All right. That's what we know so far. So first, let me say that if you, for those who want to get my full thoughts and perspective on this situation, I'm going to let you know now that we don't have all of the information, so we can't get full thoughts and perspective as everything. We have to wait for everything to play out, right, with this situation. But what I will say is that when we look at it from the standpoint of our 400 years of oppression in this country and the way that we have been treated, when we look at the lynchings, the murders, the rapes, the constant abuse, the constant oppression, there was going to come a time when this type of situation would take place. Let me pull up the words of Thomas Jefferson, because he made mention of this. Thomas Jefferson, tremble up for my country. Okay, so listen to this. Listen to what TJ had to say. Okay, let me pull this up because this is important for us to understand, and I think for white people to understand too. See, Thomas Jefferson said this on slavery. He was talking about slavery and the wrath of God. Okay, and this, I like this website, right? It's what is the name of this particular website? Let me get the actual name of this. Okay, so this is the Online Library of Liberty. So I like it. They break down the quote, and they break down what was what his context of the quote was. So it says, in the lines of this quotation, Thomas Jefferson touches on certain core ideas about what the best life for the individual is and what the moral order of nature demands ethically. It was these aspects of his thinking that never allowed him to make peace with the institution of slavery. So, of course, they're going to try to humanize their slave masters. We know Thomas Jefferson owned slaves. Nonetheless, this is what he said. I'm going to get to this part right here. This is so true that of the proprietors of slaves, a very small proportion indeed are ever seen to labor. And can the liberties of a nation be thought secure when we have removed their only firm basis, a conviction in the minds of the people that these liberties are of the gift of God? So he's talking about when you take a person's basic liberties from them, knowing that they are a gift of God, but you take people and you put them into slavery, right? And he says that they are not to be violated, talking about the God-given rights of human beings. They are not to be violated, but with his wrath, indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever. I'm gonna say that again. He said, I reflect that God is just. that his justice cannot sleep forever. Then he goes further that considering numbers, nature, and natural means only, a revolution of the wheel of fortune and exchange of situation is among possible events, that it may become probable by supernatural interference. So what Thomas Jefferson is essentially saying is that you cannot take away a people's God-given rights, God-given liberties of freedom, justice, and equality. Take them away and then deny the interference of God in the wrath on those who denied a people. Basically, he's saying that God is going to give justice to these people based on what we did to them. We don't know the time, we don't know the place, but best believe that if we are dealing with a just God, that his justice cannot sleep forever. And he talked about supernatural interference, meaning that God would actually interfere in the affairs of human beings to ensure that justice was brought to a people, right? So TJ knew what was going on. Mr. Jefferson knew that there was going to be a time and a place where white people would have to pay for their sins. They would have to pay for slavery. You would have to pay for the intentional destruction of a people. Thomas Jefferson knew that. Probably a lot of white people understood that. They just didn't want to recognize it, right? So now what does that have to do with Rodney Hinton Jr.? Well, as I said, we know that you cannot continue to beat, rape, lynch, kill, murder a person or people or a group and not expect there to be any type of retaliation. At a certain point in time, the law of survival kicks in. At a certain point in time, justice kicks in. At a certain point in time, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth kicks in. Now, see, the energy's different because at a certain point, after so much trauma, after so much violence, after so much mental abuse that has taken place on a particular people, they get to a point that nothing is going to stop them from the retaliation of a lost one or a loved one, especially when you're talking about children. Especially when you're talking about children. This man lost his son. And how many of the countless children have we lost to terroristic police activity? Oh, talk to me. Talk to me now. How many of our young black men have we lost to terroristic police activity? Oscar Grant was murdered on a subway station. Mike Brown, Tamir Rice, 12 years old, murdered. Trayvon. So many that we could name, young people. My man's in Sacramento, California. I can't think of his name right now. Running through the neighborhood. He was being chased to his neighborhood. Police chopped him down. Philando Castile. That's up in Minnesota. Ahmaud Arbery running through neighborhood in Brunswick, Georgia. The two brothers. Matter of fact, I got the article. I got the article right here. This wasn't necessarily the police, but these two twin brothers right here that we still open investigation trying to figure out how those two brothers, college students who lived in Gwinnett County, ended up 86 miles away from their home in a mountain in a town that's majority white, shot to death on a mountain. How many of our young black children have suffered this same fate? And how long did you think it was going to be before you met some type of reaction, equal or greater reaction to your activity out here in the streets? Come on. No, we just keeping it. We just keeping it real. I'm not saying what Rodney did was all the way was right. We're not talking about right and wrong. We're just talking about what happens when you push your people to the limit. What happens when you continue to put violence in the atmosphere? What did you think was going to happen? What did you expect to happen? And then you want to show up in court and try to intimidate people. You want to show up in court, all these police officers around. You want to try to intimidate. So now what's going on is the narrative is shifting from Ryan Hinton, who was unjustly shot by police, to this deputy. So family, culture, family, what we can't do is allow people to shift and change the narrative. That's not what we doing. We can't allow you to shift and change the narrative like that. Because what it's saying is that this officer's life is more important than this young man's life. And I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, he shouldn't have been in a stolen vehicle. He shouldn't have had a weapon. And the police officer shouldn't have shot him. Because there are plenty of people who commit grand theft auto who don't get gunned down, running away from the police. Now, if you was in a standoff with the police, that's something totally different. If you was in a shootout with the police, that's something totally different. But he's fleeing away from the police back to them, and he is shot down. So these are what's going on. This was going on. This is what's happening. So you have to ask yourself, because of the current administration, see, President Trump has emboldened these alleged so-called white supremacists now to get more bold and get more overt with their dislike and disdain for black people in America. Yeah, no, that's just the real. That's just the facts. That's just the facts. See, he is emboldening them with his rhetoric, with his language, with his posture militarily. He's emboldening them. So this is why the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb, and we're going to have to unite in order for our survival, because everybody is going to be coming after us. And they're not asking you about your religious persuasion. They're not asking you about your fraternal connections. They're not asking you about what country you from. They're not asking you about any of that. They are simply seeing that you a black person, man, woman, child in America, and you the ops. That's why we at war, family. We at war. So as Brother David just mentioned, self-preservation. Self-preservation is going to kick in at some point. And when people feel like they have nothing to lose, what do you expect in their behavior? You coming after people's children. You coming after people's children. We just had the case in the situation up in Minnesota where the white woman called the autistic child the N-word. See, these are targeted attacks on children. She says that the autistic child was trying to steal some snacks out of her child's baby bag. But from what we've read, the child is autistic. So, his mind doesn't work the same way as normal children his age does. And it was harmless. It was a harmless thing. He takes the food, whatever the case may be, and she blows it over the top, as all Karens do. Then she gets caught calling him the N-word. The video goes viral all over social media. She get on GoFundMe or whatever this money raising account that she used to claim that her life was in danger, and all those who support her language and what she said about that child donated that money. and she raised about $800,000 right now. So what white people think is that they can attack black children, they can attack black people, and get $1 million GoFundMe bag. That's what they thinking. That's what they thinking. They can go and they can attack black people and come up on $1 million GoFundMe bag. And the energy is different though. The energy is that's in this generation is different. You're not getting no $800,000, $1 million GoFundMe bags, and we're not gonna have nothing to say about it. So, right, wrong, indifferent, that's not the conversation. What the conversation is, though, is the energy is different. The atmosphere is different. The spirit is different. See, this liberation fight that we have been in and engaged in is a long, protracted fight with generations after generations of aspects to it. And the fact of the matter is that black people are not violent people, uncivilized people by nature. No, see, something happened to us. Just like something happened to the young man and something happened to the father. So that the imprint of violence and oppression has been genetically and mentally passed down the same way that our warrior spirit is genetically passed down from the ancestors. Hold on. Hold up. So now that same warrior spirit that's been genetically passed down, the same way that those mental traumas creeping up, that warrior spirit creeping up too. The warrior spirit creeping up too, and we saying now, never again. Never again. See? And at the end of the day, I mean, some of us is going to have to go to jail. Some of us going to lose our life, right? But we have to set the standard. We have to draw the line in the sand. You're not going to continue to kill our children, kill our people, and it go unanswered. The days of us marching and protesting is over with. We're not about to sit around and march and protest and, talk about we shall overcome and, all of that forgiveness and, of these people who are openly targeting us. Let me tell you what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in this book, The Fall of America. Because he made it plain about what we living up under. He said in The Fall of America, chapter 4, he says, was it chapter 4 or chapter 5? Let me see. Let me make sure I'm right. Oh, no. He said in chapter 5, we are living under the shadow of death. Check this out. He said that we, the black lost found of our people here in America, live under the shadow of death by way of cowardly enemies. Every one of us, the cowardly enemies, seek our deaths one way or another. The cowardly enemies will not fight you as a brave man would fight you if they think you would fight back. They will steal on you when you least expect an attack from them. We live under the shadow of death. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is saying, listen, we are living constantly under the shadow of death because we live with a people who are cowardly, number one, and two, seek to kill us. But they're not going to come straight up. So they're going to come and steal on, like the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, they're going to steal on you. They're going to steal on you. Now, I growing up, we used to say that all the time, man, I'll steal you, bro. And then we just like, yo, that means punching somebody in the face. I thought we had made that up. I didn't know the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was saying that in the 60s. Steal on you. But they'll steal on you, and like he said, when you least expect an attack from them. So this is why oftentimes when you see them attacking us, it's always when we running from them, when we not paying any attention. They always trying to grab you from behind. The brother that killed my man's on the subway, not Oscar Grant, but the most recent one. His name was just in my mind. On the subway station, he had the He had his name is Daniel Penny, the white boy, Daniel Penny, choked out that black boy on the subway station, who he had mental issues as well, right? And he came up behind him and choked him out. George Floyd had the knee in his neck while he was handcuffed on the ground. See, so this is a cowardly enemy that we dealing with. This is why we got to have training. This is why we got to move militant when we out with our family, when we out with our people. We got to move militant, black man. You got to know where all of the entry points and exit ways are anytime you in a building. You have to always keep your head on the swivel. This is why you can't be drinking. You can't be smoking. You can't be inebriated, because you got to know what's going on out here. You dealing with a cowardly enemy, brothers and sisters. You dealing with a cowardly enemy. Right? And you living under the shadow of death. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad go on to say we, talking about black people, fled from the cowardly devils of the South, seeking refuge in the same cowardly enemy's brother in the North. The enemy devils of the South followed us to the North to see that his brother of the North does not treat us any better than they did in the South. They seek police jobs. So that they can beat and kill us who are trying to escape. They seek to kill us or get us killed at any price. They do not care about our loyalty to them. In their hearts, there is death for us, the black man in America. Wait a minute, Elijah. What do you mean? He's telling you about your enemy. See, you don't know your enemy, because if you knew him, you wouldn't be trying to hang out with him all the time. You wouldn't be loyal to him. You wouldn't be calling him your brother if you knew you had an enemy, brother. But clearly you don't know you had an enemy, so someone had to come and tell you about your enemy. Yeah, someone had to come and tell you about your enemy. So this is what he's telling you about your enemy. He's telling you about your enemy. And this is what we see taking place. That young brother, Rodney Hinton, was murdered by police. He was running from them people. His back was to them people. He had got out the car. He was running and he tripped and kind of fell down. It ended up behind a dumpster. And as he come from behind the dumpster with his back to the police officer got his gun drawn and he shoot the boy 6 times. Bow, bow, bow. 6 times. He shoot him down. The young man posed no threat. So they go to the same old police excuse that they always use. He had a gun on him. He pointed the gun at me. Now, how you running with your back to somebody, but you point the gun at somebody that's behind you? Make it make sense. But because they can't make it make sense, they always have to justify it by saying that there was a weapon. That's why he's saying it's a weapon, because that's the justification for deadly force when it wasn't necessary. How many white children, how many young white men do they kill who steal cars? And they love stealing cars. Grand Theft Auto is really what they like to do. Rich white kids that want to be gangster, they want to commit Grand Theft Auto. How many of them get shot down by the police? Or are they just arrested and then they go through the process of, being charged for Grand Theft Auto? Somebody talk to me in the comment section. Let me know. Let me know what's going on, because that's just real. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we living under the shadow of death. But he gave us a solution. He gave us a solution, family. After he told us that we living under the shadow of death, he told us what we need to do. He said we need to separate. In point number 4 of the Muslim program, what the Muslims want. I'm going to read it to you verbatim so you'll have a good understanding. It says that point number 4, we want our people in America whose parents or grandparents who were descendants from slaves to be allowed to establish a separate state or territory of their own. either on this continent or elsewhere. We believe that our former slave masters are obligated to provide such land, and that the area must be fertile and minerally rich. We believe that our former slave masters are obligated to maintain and supply our needs in this separate territory for the next 20 to 25 years until we are able to produce and supply our own needs. So we want a separate state or territory, either on this continent or another. That's first and foremost. We need to separate from you people. That's what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is saying. We got to separate from you people because this is not going to work. And then he says that the slave masters are obligated. The former slave masters are obligated. See, our blood, sweat, and tears soaked the grounds of America. And our blood, sweat, and tears built this country. Everything that you stand on was built on the backs of slaves. So you are obligated to provide that separate state of territory and to supply and produce it, right? Help maintain and supply our needs in a separate state of territory for the next 20 to 25 years. You got to give us a good send-off. Not only did you come and steal us from West Africa, you brought us over here, you made us slaves, we built your country, you raped our women, you lynched and killed our men. Then on top of that, you oppressed us through the architecture of white supremacy, through legislation and policy. So yeah, we asking for separation, and we asking that you provide the tractors, you provide the farmland, you provide the animals, you provide everything that we need because we done paid the price. So we're not paying you for no tools. We're not paying you for anything. Everything that we're going to get, we already paid for. Come on now. Come on. Everything that we get is already paid for. Already paid for. So we're not paying for none of that. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we done did that already. What the minister said? Let me play it for you. You're here.
You don't tell the white man that you're willing to go back and cut no underbrush. We already did that once. If we have to do it again, that's not progress. Hell no. Get out of the cities and the towns that we helped you build. Go and find some other state to move in. You move out, we move in. Now wait a minute. You say, oh, come on, Farrakhan, that's a pipe dream. Well, damn, you better put it in your pipe then.
Hey, look, you heard the minister. You don't tell the white man that you going to go back and cut some underbrush. We already did that once. He said, no, you get out of the cities and the towns that we helped you build. These ain't your cities and your towns. We built them. You get out. You go out, we go in. See? I'm going to play it for y'all again. Y'all ain't hear the minister. Play it for y'all again.
You don't tell the white man that you're willing to go back and cut no underbrush.
Hell no.
We already did that once.
Right.
If we have to do it again, that's not progress. Hell no. Get out of the cities and the towns.
That's right.
That we helped you build. Go and find some other state to move in. You move out.
We move in. Come on. The minister made it plain. Go find somewhere else to go. We occupying this whole situation over here. You go find somewhere else to go. But I guess you saying to yourself, well, why we got to separate? Why Elijah talking about segregation? All right, I'm going to tell you why. He says that since we cannot get along with them in peace and equality after giving them 400 years of our sweat and blood and receiving some of the worst treatment human beings have ever experienced, we believe our contributions to this land and the suffering forced upon us by white America justifies our demand for complete separation in a state of territory of our own. Drop the mic, brother. Drop the mic. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Dropping the mic. See? That's why. You asking why? This is why. Since we cannot get along with them in peace and equality after giving them 400 years of sweat and blood and receiving in return some of the worst treatment human beings ever experienced, we believe Our contributions to this land and the suffering forced upon us by white America justifies our demand for complete separation in a state of territory of our own. That's why 400 years of our sweat and blood to help build this nation, and we receive not only bad treatment, but the worst treatment humans have ever experienced at the hands of white America. The worst treatment. All the way up into 2025. We still experiencing the worst treatment human beings could ever experience. So because we can't get along, we can't live in peace and equality with you, then the only thing to do after that, family, is to separate. If you know of anybody who is in an abusive relationship, they can't get along. They having issues. They can't get along. They don't have justice and equality. They're not able to be together in peace and equality. Then the solution that you would give them is you got to get away. You got to separate. Y'all got to go y'all separate ways. Y'all can't continue to stay together because it's not healthy. It's not good. You can't continue to stay together. Separation is the answer. So why is it, family? Why is separation the answer for every other situation where the two parties involved cannot get along together in peace? Why is the solution always separation except for this one? Why are black people still being told that it is somehow racist or black supremacy to say, listen, we need separation from these people. We need to go alone to ourselves. We need our own place to be away from them so that we can get ourselves together and they can stay out of our business. Because that's where we at with it right now. That's where we at with it right now, family. So that's what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. We got to separate. We got to separate. Since we can't get along in peace and equality with these people, we have to separate. So we'll continue to follow what's going on with the Hinton case, and the bail, and just know, if Rodney Hinton Jr. get bail, we got to put that money up. We got to put that money up. We got to put that money up. I saw a tweet that Cal Rittenhouse talking about Carmelo Anthony should be in jail for life, as if Cal Rittenhouse shouldn't be in jail for life. See? And they raised that money, $500,000, I believe, for Cal Rittenhouse when he was going through his trial. And his people put that money up to get him out. See, but you notice that they trying to block. Let me see. They trying to block our ability to support Rodney. Let's see. Let me see. Let's see if I can pull it up. But they've been trying to block and shut down. I believe they said the city of Cincinnati issued an apology for the GoFundMe page. All this kind of stuff. Let me see. You see how the tables is turned though? Let me see. Rodney Hinton Jr. GoFundMe. Let's see it. All right. See, now look at this. I want y'all to see this double standard now. I want y'all to peep this gold standard right here, boy. This gonna take you. This right here gonna blow your mind. Look. Yeah, it's always worth it. Don't get us confused. If we get busy, we get violent too. Listen, look at this. Oh no. Hold on, y'all. All right, look. This is off of WCPO 9 ABC Cincinnati local news. They all of a sudden, right? Says zero tolerance. GoFundMe removes fundraisers for man who killed deputy. Apologizes to Cincinnati FOP. I don't know what FOP stands for, but they apologized to Cincinnati FOP for the GoFundMe. So it says, within days of Rodney Hinton Jr.'s arrest for hitting and killing a Hamilton County Sheriff's deputy, more than a dozen fundraisers popped up on GoFundMe supporting him. As of Tuesday evening, they no longer exist. Wow. The online fundraising platform removed the campaigns at the demand of 23,000 Ohio law enforcement personnel. Jay McDonald, president of the Ohio Fraternal Order of Police, voiced their collective outrage in a letter penned to GoFundMe Tuesday afternoon. This is absolutely outrageous to fundraise off the assassination of a law enforcement officer, McDonald said in part. Stop right there. Stop right there. Because isn't it funny how they want to label a police officer being allegedly murdered as an assassination, but what happened to George Floyd was not an assassination? Wait a minute. What happened to Ryan Hinton was not an assassination? You mean to tell me a child, an 18-year-old boy running away from the police, shot in the back and killed, is not an assassination? So you can write letters to GoFundMe to stop the support of this, but you can't get your officers to stop killing black people unjustly. You got that white woman in Minnesota. Who called that called that young man out of his name. Called that black boy out of his name. And got on one of these platforms. I don't know if it was GoFundMe or not, but the point remains the same, and raised $800,000. That platform wasn't taken down. So it's okay to call people the N-word, is what you're saying. It's okay to call people the N-word, children. You can attack children. That's what you're saying, and it's okay. But then the police officers attacked, and all of a sudden, 23,000 law enforcement personnel got something to say about it. So if it's 23,000 law enforcement personnel that have something to say about it, what about 40 million of us that got something to say about you keep killing our children? What about that? Think about that. Because see, now all of a sudden you feeling the pressure. It's no fun when the rabbit got the gun. It was all good just a week ago when you had the badge and you had the gun, you had the upper hand, so you was running down on people, choking people out, shooting people down, claiming they had weapons, claiming your life was threatened, all of these different things. It was okay. But the minute the script is flipped on you, 23,000 law enforcement personnel all of a sudden got something to say. Where was these 23,000 when Derek Chauvin had his foot on the neck of George Floyd? Where was these 23,000 when Zimmerman did what he did to Trayvon Martin? Where was these 23,000 when those police ran up and shot Tamir Rice? Where was these 23,000 when that officer took down Mike Brown? Where was the 23,000 when Philando Castile was murdered? Where was the 23,000 when Sandra Bland was killed? Where was the 23,000 as we still fight to get justice for Breonna Taylor? Where was the 23,000 when that police officer walked into that man's apartment and shot him in his own apartment? Where was the 23,000 then? See? I don't want to hear nothing about what 23,000 law enforcement officers got to say today. They had plenty of time to use their voice to speak out against injustice. We don't give a damn about what 23,000 police officers got to say today. Talking about this is absolutely outrageous to fundraise off the assassination of a law enforcement officer. What's absolutely outrageous is the fact that police officers don't have a good understanding of when to use deadly force and when not to. That's what's absolutely outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous that you got piss poor training. That's what's absolutely outrageous. That's what's absolutely outrageous. In the letter, McDonald said that the most active of the fundraisers for Hinton had raised more than $5,000. Let's go ahead and since we shutting down GoFundMe's and campaigns, we need to go ahead and shut that one down that white lady got in Minnesota for that $800,000 because she thinks she about to run up a bag close to $1 million. And she thinks she can talk crazy out her mouth. So those 23,000 that pin that, go ahead and pin the other one so you can get that campaign removed too. If we're not doing that, then we gonna put another campaign up, because now we're gonna write GoFundMe and say, okay, GoFundMe, so it's okay to kill black children, is what you're saying. It's okay to verbally abuse black children. Those campaigns can stay up. It's okay to protect white people, is what you're saying. Yeah, we about to pin something to GoFundMe now. You want to write? We gonna write. That's what we got to do. See, we have to match that energy. We got to match that energy, family, because that's the type of time that we got to be on today. See? That's just it. 23,000 law enforcement personnel got something to say now, but where was they at when all of these other police killings was taking place? Where was the 23,000 at then? The online fundraising platform removed the campaigns at the demand of 23,000 Ohio law enforcement personnel. Where was the 23,000 when they fellow officers felt like it was okay to shoot and kill innocent black children, innocent black people? Sean Bell was lit up by police officers in New York City. Where was the 23,000 then? What was the 23,000 when they continued to protect Carolyn Bryant, who lied on Emmett Till? Where was the 23,000 then? Talk to me. I got a bunch of questions for these 23,000 law enforcement officers today, because your voice was mighty quiet, mighty small. When we really needed you to speak up on piss poor police officer performance. It was mighty small then. All of a sudden, you got everything to say about the black man. You got everything to say about the black man now. So this is why the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we got to separate. Because violence begets violence. And this is why we are taught as Muslims to never be the aggressor. Never be the aggressor. Never be the aggressor. Because violence begets violence. So don't start down the path of violence, because if you start down the path of violence, you're going to meet it at some point down that path. That's the energy that you put out. So, energy is like a boomerang. You send it out there, and it's going to come right on back. You send it out there, it's going to come right on back. So you've been sending out violence for 400 years against black people. Sending it out, sending it out, sending it out, sending it out. But you see, the black man is rising today. The black man is not standing for any imperialistic, colonialistic, white supremacist mindset. We're not standing for that today. See, we standing up and pushing back and reclaiming everything that the devil stole. As you can see over there in Burkina Faso with Captain Ibrahim, they putting the white man out. They told the French, pack your bags, it's time to go. We taking back all our resources. We taking control over everything that we got going on over here. So now America is looking like, oh, he think he a big nigga. See, that's what they saying over there about Ibrahim. They saying, oh, you think you gonna put us out of Africa? You think you gonna put our allies out of Africa? Meaning you gonna try to block us out of the gold, the resources, because that's what America wants. It's not about democracy. It's not about fairness, equal treatment. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about the goal. She wants the resources that the country have. And because Burkina Faso is saying, no, we are taking back control of our resources. We making partnerships with your enemies, because they got a partnership in an agreement with Russia now. America's setting the stage and trying to create the atmosphere to have that brother assassinated. She's working on that as we speak. And you see the African nations is standing up and saying, if you put your hands on Ibrahim, if you try to kill Ibrahim, you're going to have a problem. See, that's the energy. That's the spiritual shift. That's the shift in the culture energy that's taking place all across the African diaspora. That's what's taking place all across the African diaspora, family. We got, look, I got time. That's what we saying. I got time today. See, this is not the time in which the devil will rule. We at the end of that time. See, at the end of the time of the rule of the devil, God is on the scene, and the righteous will be victorious. The righteous will be victorious. And that's what we're on today. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us in the Muslim program why we need to separate from these people and why separation is the answer. And we need to avail ourselves of this Muslim program. You need to purchase the Final Call newspaper, see the brothers on the corner, get you a Final Call newspaper. You know, become a part of the culture community, but study what the Muslim program has to offer, because everything that's happening, Trump closing down federal jobs, kicking out federal departments, you know, getting rid of the Department of Education, closing down welfare, Social Security, all of those different type of things. See, the Muslim program got an answer for all of that. Muhammad's Muslim economic blueprint has a solution to all of those problems. You too busy sitting around here crying about what Trump doing, not knowing that you got an answer to all those problems right here in what Mr. Muhammad had to say. And his chief student, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan goes into the wisdom of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and gives us the full meaning of it. See, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad dropped the seed on us and then he was gone. See, it was a wake-up message. Then the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan comes and then he bursts that seed that was dropped by Elijah. And gives you the full scope of it, the wisdom of it. And you're like, wow. Free your mind. Bam. Into 10,000 atoms. You're cracking atoms now into 10,000 parts now. And that's how your mind becomes free. That's how you become free. So the scripture is being fulfilled when Jesus says, ye shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. When you hear the truth that Farrakhan speaks, it bursts the seed that Elijah dropped in your mind many, many years ago. And once Farrakhan bursts the seed and cracked the atoms on you, your mind has come free. And now your eyes are open. You're no longer blind. Your ears are open and you're no longer deaf. The knot is taken out your tongue and you can speak now. You're no longer dumb. That's because the truth that these two men speak will free your mind. And this Muslim program will free our people. But you got to study it. And then you got to be ready to apply it. See? You got to study, then apply. Study, then apply. Just like with everything else. Anything you look to do, you study it. You study the business. But then you got to get up off your butt and go put the work in. You don't study the business for 100 years and never get a LLC. You never go and you start doing any of the things that the business requires if you plan on being successful. And it's the same thing with liberation. If you plan on being successful with liberation, then you got to take the solution that's given. And after you take that solution that's given, you got to read it, take it in, and then you got to start applying it. All right? So, we're going to continue to monitor that particular case in Cincinnati. Like I said, we got to go ahead and talk with GoFundMe. We got to have a conversation with GoFundMe. We need to talk to these 23,000 law enforcement officers that have something to say, because we got questions for them. And the culture family, the idea has to be put into the mind that we have to shift the culture Start thinking about how you going to shift it in your household, how you going to shift it in your community, how you going to shift it at the workplace. Shifting the culture got to be on the mindset. And remember, we are living under the shadow of death in America. We living under it. Don't ever forget it. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad let us know. Chapter 5 of The Fall of America. Get the book so you can read it yourself. You ain't got to believe me. You can read it yourself. See? Chapter 5. What does that say? Under the shadow of death. That's exactly what it says. So you can read it right here. We live under the shadow of death. The cowardly enemies will not fight you as a brave man will fight you. If they think that you will fight back, they will steal on you when you least expect an attack from him. Under the shadow of death, chapter 5. There it go in black and white. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his chief student, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, is on the scene warning our people. The watchman on the tower warning our people of what this enemy is about and how you can avert what's going on. So that's been another Shift in the Culture podcast, family. Man, I appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Listen, make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at Brother King Cam. Make sure that you go and check this out, fam. I don't want to leave before we get a chance to talk about this real quick. Man, I had a powerful opportunity to interview one of the giants in the nation, one of the chief helpers to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, our good brother, student minister Abdul Malik, right, of the Western region. And he came on, hold on. He came on a couple of weeks ago and sat down and talked with us, family. So I want y'all to go and check that full interview out. Let me see some. Bam, bam, bam. You can find it on, here we go. Boom. You can find it on YouTube. I'm about to pull it up for y'all. Bam. Here you go. You can find it on YouTube right here. Go to my YouTube channel. You can check this out. You don't want to not watch this interview, this full interview, hour and 30 minutes of pure fire. Pure fire. Don't want to miss out on that. So make sure you tap in. If you're on my Instagram, if you follow my Instagram, you can click the link in the bio. The YouTube link is right there in Instagram. You go right to it, family, and it's a pop-up right there. And it'll take you through the whole interview. You definitely want to watch it. You want to support it. We want everybody to support. For those who are watching from YouTube, man, give us a subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. We growing. We definitely want to keep on growing. So make sure that you give us a subscribe. All right, but follow us on all social media platforms. Also follow the podcast, Shifting the Culture Pod on Instagram. That's the Instagram handle, Shifting the Culture Pod, P-O-D. All right, so make sure you're following us on all those social media platforms. I appreciate you all for watching and listening tonight. And may Allah continue to bless you. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me, I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like